Welcome to Ethical Hacking from Scratch to Advanced Technique. On this video, we are going to explain the first attack in a series of attacks related to Layer 2. And Layer 2, we are here focusing or talking about network. Different attack related to local network. Now, local network, this could be a wired network or it could be a wireless network. Most of the attack apply on both of them. And one of the big challenge we keep facing is to how to protect our LAN. So a lot of attack will be coming from inside your organization or inside the organization from where you are doing penetration testing. People are settings, they can download any program from the internet, and this program will allow them to scan the network, to see what his people is doing, to capture the username and password. It's very easy to do that. And it's even worse in wireless. So you may be sitting in public places, an internet cafe or any coffee shop, and you are connected through their wireless, and someone is sitting beside you, and he is monitoring what you are doing. He can even manipulate what you are doing. So during the sniffing, we'll be taking a lot of attacks. And most of them are not easy to prevent. This is actually the challenging part. So we are only going to recommend solution, but nothing has been showing effectiveness so far. So let's start with the basic one, which is sniffing. Okay, what is sniffing as definition? Sniffing, it's a packet gathering technique. So using some specific tools and technique, I can capture all packets inside my network. Now, to clarify what is exactly the packet. When you are sending an information, assume that you are sending an email. The email will not be sent into wire or through wireless the same way you are writing it. It will be converted to something called packet. And the packet, it's like consists of two pieces. Let me show you like a brief about that, or like packet or traffic packet. And if we check how the packet look like, and actually you're going to see a real packet in a few minutes. So packet, it's something like this image, where the lower part, this is a packet. So whenever you send something like an email or a request for a page or something, it will be converted to packet that consists of two different parts. The part below, it's called the payload, and this is where your information is. So whatever information, it will not be written the same way, it will be coded, but this is the information part. And the part at the middle, this is called the header, that will include everything related to this packet is going from where to where. It's like you are sending someone a letter. You have to write on the envelope, this letter is going from where to where. So whatever you are sending through the network, it will be transferred to packet. Now, this packet, it's very easy to manipulate, and we're going to understand how we are doing that. It may seem complicated, but when you're going to go through the video, and through the lab and through the practice part, the practical part, you're going to see how easy it is. So sniffing is an technique that is used to capture all packet inside the network. So whoever connect through the network, if you are sitting on the network and you are connected to the internet, your traffic is not going straight from your machine to the website. No, it's going through someone. This is called sniffing the network. Okay. Now let me explain the history of that. Maybe it will make things a little bit more clear. So sniffing started many years back. Many years back, when we have a network, what is the component of any network? It was computers and cables, and we used to have like a gathering device. Back on the time, we used to have a device called the hub. It doesn't exist anymore, but we used to have that before. Hub was a device like the one in this slide that connect all the machines together. Now, when the computer communicate together inside the network, so let's assume that computer, the blue one, need to connect to the server. So he will send the information to the hub, and hub should send the information to the specific server. But the problem is the hub was a layer 1 device. Layer 1 device mean it was a dummy device. He cannot recognize the machine. So when he receives information from the blue machine, he will send them to all the machine. He cannot distinguish which one is the target machine. So he's going to send that traffic to all the machine. Now all the machine will drop the packet except the target machine. He said, yes, this information belongs to me. And he will get this information. During this time, a technique called passive sniffing has been showing. So if one hacker machine, like the red machine here, is connected to the network, he's going to say, okay, why dropping the packet? Maybe I need to capture any packet that I have or that I receive and see what is inside. So if the same scenario occurs, the victim machine needs to send information to the file server machine. He will send the information to the hub. The hub will send the information to all the machine, because he cannot distinguish which one is the target machine. So what happens is everyone will be dropping the information except two machines. The file server, because this is the owner of the information, he said, yes, those belong to me. And the hacker machine is going to say, why drop this packet of information? Let me see what is inside. So the machine was not doing any effort. The hacker machine was not doing, the information just reach him, and instead of dropping the information, he can check what is inside. And that's why we call that the passive sniffing. I mean, I don't do any effort. I just have to open whatever I receive, even if it does not belong to me. Then after a while, this hub has been changed to a switch. So it's similar as a shape, it looks the same, except the switch is more smarter. Switch are a smarter device, are a layer 2 device that can distinguish the machine. But they are distinguish those machines based on their MAC address, not their IP address. So the switch has inside something called the MAC address table that look like that. And sometimes we call it the CAM table. And inside the CAM table, all the machines connected to it will be registered here, their MAC address and to which port they are connected. So this machine is connected through this port, and this machine is connected through this port. But he's not writing down the IP of the machine, he's writing down the MAC address of the machine. And as you know, that each machine has a MAC address, it's related to the network card. So if your machine has a 2 network card, you're going to have 2 MAC address. And it's easy to see your MAC address by command line or even by graphical. Let me show it to you. So if you go to show adapter and we go to the wireless connections that we are using right now, we right click and we go to status, and we go to details, and you're going to see something called the physical address. This is it. It's a 12 digit, okay, and sometimes it's called the physical address or the MAC address. And you can even do that by the command line. So if you go to the command line and you type ipconfig/all, you will see all your network adapter information, and including the MAC address or the physical address. So let's see, the wireless should be at the beginning, because I have a lot of network adapters. Some of them are virtual and some of them are physical. So this is my physical MAC address. So the point is, each computer has a each computer has something called the MAC address, and the MAC address, sorry, this is the one. Okay, so if we check, you can see that this is the same MAC address that we have. So the switch can distinguish each machine, each computer by their MAC address. And according to that, if we repeat the previous scenario, if one machine are sending information to the other machine, the information will be sent to the switch. Switch will check his MAC address table, or sometimes called the CAN table, and see the target machine is connected to which port, and he will send that to the specific port. So now if the hacker machine are doing a passive sniffing, he will receive nothing, because usually the switch can distinguish the source and the destination. But the sniffing application also has been enhanced, or there was a new edition of sniffing, which is the active sniffing. So what happened is the hacker machine can now manipulate the switch, and by doing different way for attack. So for instance, we have one of the attack is called the ARP spoofing, and this is a very common attack. We're going to explain the attack, but when you do the attack yourself, when you're going to do that in a few minutes, you're going to see that it's quite easy to do. It may seem complicated. So what happens is, usually when you get a switch, the switch by default has no entry. I mean, the MAC address table at the beginning will be empty. How the switch will build the MAC address, how he will be knowing that the computers that have this MAC address are connected to this port, and the computers that has that MAC address are connected to this port, and so on. It generate when it will be built when you generate traffic. Okay, but now we have a small problem here, is that computers are communicating together using IP, while switch can communicate using MAC address. So for instance, if you go to this machine and type ping the IP of this machine, ping 192.168.1.5 for instance, okay, I cannot type ping and the MAC address of this machine. I can only communicate using the IP. The request will be sent to the switch and saying, I need to send the ping packet to this specific machine. Now the switch do not understand what is an IP. So what he'll do, he'll be sending something called the ARP request. So the first thing that the switch will do whenever you are communicating at the beginning, it will send something called ARP request. And what is the ARP request exactly? ARP request, it's a request that the switch will send to all the machine. So for instance, let's assume that this computer write down ping 192.168.1.5. The ping packet will be sent to the switch, telling them I need to send the ping packet to this specific computer. So the switch, he cannot understand what is this IP. So he will send to all the computer connected to him, except the one from where he received the packet, telling them, listen guys, which one has this specific IP? This is called an ARP request. And what happens is that the destination machine will reply back saying, I am the one that have this IP machine. So this is called the ARP reply. And he will also share his MAC address. So it will be kept on the MAC address table for future communication. He don't need to send this ARP request. So this is how the MAC address table are building are built. Now, if you think about it, what if the hacker machine are sitting in the same network? So this computer ping on, or this switch send an ARP request asking which one of you guys holds the specific IP. And instead of having the regular machine reply, he will reply back first, saying, listen, I am the one who holds this IP, which is not, but he's just faking the ARP reply. The switch has no way to validate that. So he will consider that this is a destination. and he will send this information to this destination. So I can fake the ARP reply by faking my MAC address, and the switch will believe that. Okay, so it's quite easy to implement. It may be seem complicated, but it's quite easy. So the switch is very easy to fill. Okay, now enough with the practical part, and let's take some lab to check that. Regarding the lab, or regarding the practical part, we're going to do two different practical parts. First, we're going to do the proper way for using sniffing. Sniffing can be used in two different ways. It can be used in a good way, and it can be misused, like anything that we are going to explain in this training. So sniffing, not necessarily it's misuse. Most people are using sniffing for traffic analyzing. So if I sniffer the network, if I capture all the traffic going from all the computer to all other computer or to the internet, I'll be able to analyze the traffic and see what kind of load do I have, which server has more load, which machine are sending more requests, and so on. And a very good tools that can be used, and many people are using that for traffic analyzer, it's called Wireshark. So let's first see the Wireshark application, and then let's see a small demonstration about how people misused this kind of technique. So Wireshark, we just need to run this program. You can download it from wireshark.org. Okay, and it's a free application. It's a very, very good. So you can go to wireshark.org and you'll be able to download Wireshark. In Linux, Wireshark are built in, so you don't need to install it. And you can go to download and download which version you are in. They have a version for Windows and Mac and everything. Okay, so when you run Wireshark, this is how it look like. You can go to capture and click interface, and on interface he will ask you which interface would you like me to capture from. Like in my case, I have wired and wireless. Which one would you like to capture traffic from? So because I'm connected to wireless, I can click on Wi-Fi and I click on start, and he will start showing me all the traffic that is going through this wireless network, from which computer to which computer, what kind of traffic, what is the destination, what port they are using. This is at this part. The second part is the packet information. I mean, if I want to check what traffic are used here, for instance, I can click here. Let me stop that, and he will show me what is the packet look like. Here we have the payload, and here we have the header as well. It's going from which machine to which machine, what port, and so on. So it's a nice tool for packet analyzing. It's a very, very handy tool, and we're going to be using that especially in wireless. But this is one way for using the sniffing, but for traffic analyzer. We can even figure out, I mean, for instance, I can tell him, okay, I want to see people that connected to the internet right now. So I can type here, show me all HTTP traffic, and he's going to show me if there is anyone connected to the internet, and I can even get the website. So it's easy to use, but we will be using that in other session and other video, but this is a way for using that. Okay, so this is one way. Let's now take a tool that can misuse this sniffing. So I open my virtual machine, and I have two different machines. I'm going to open the hacker machine and the victim machine. So the hacker machine is up and running, and the victim machine, I believe I also started. Let me just log in. And we are going to use the same tools that we spoke about in the enumeration, which is CAN enable. And mainly this is a sniffing tool. I showed you earlier from where you can download that. It's a free application. It's a very powerful. And let's see how we can use it. So what happened is we go to the sniffing part and let's remove everything. Start from beginning. And I can click here on the plus sign and tell him I need to check for all computer connected to my network. So I can let him search, but this will take a long time. Or I can tell him my network and he will search all IP on the same network. So my IP in this computer is 192. Let me check the IP on the hacker machine. It's 192.168.95.137. So any IP that starts with those three numbers should be a member of my network. So he can search for all the IP inside my network. So I can tell him all test and click on OK, and he's gonna start and try to get all the IP connected to the on the same network. What exactly he'll be getting? He'll be getting the IP of this machine, and especially he'll be getting the MAC address, because as I told you, he's gonna use that to fool or to manipulate the switch. Keep telling him I am the one who holds this MAC, and the switch will send him the information, because switch cannot validate if this is the right one or he's just faking the MAC address. He sometimes also is showing us, or actually it's always showing us the OU or the fingerprint, and if this is a virtual machine, if this is a router, if this is a computer. So it's kind of handy, and we're gonna see how. And by going and doing that and click on start sniffing, what he's doing right now, he's sniffing any traffic inside the network. Okay, so any traffic going from any computer to any other computer, or going from any computer inside my network to the internet, it will be going through my computer right now. But this specific application, I'll only look for some specific item. He's not looking for any information. He's looking for credential. Anyone who's trying to log into a website, he will capture the username and password. And he's looking for voice over IP as well. So if I go to password, anyone who connected to the network or connected to any website and use any credential, his information will be showing here, to which website he connected and what is the username and password that he used. So if it was a website, you click on HTTP, he will show you which website and what was the username and what is the password. If it's Telnet, he will show you. If it's SMTP, SMB, so he will check what protocol is used. He can get you the username and password. So just by starting the sniffing, anyone who's going through any website, anything, he will capture everything, especially the credential. But if you just use this technique in this specific way, it will be very easy to be detected. So if you are sitting in a network, sniffing the network, it will be very easy to detect it. So we use this technique in a different way by something called man-in-the-middle attack. And here how we are doing that. Okay, so in man-in-the-middle attack, I go to APR. So let me remove everything and let's do a demonstration. So point here is a lot of traffic inside the network. I'm not interested to go through me. So if someone is pinging on another machine, why should the traffic go through me? It will load my machine and no benefit is there. So I'm only looking for interesting traffic, things that had authentication, things like that. So here's the situation. If you have another machine sitting on the same network, okay, and this guy, he's going to the internet and he's going to one of his accounts, okay, so what is the process or the procedure that's going? I mean, the guy is sitting on the same network, and I'm going to assume that this guy is the victim machine. So if we take this victim machine, for instance, and this guy, when he opens the browser and he go to a specific website, okay, so for instance, he go to www.yahoo or msn.com, okay, so www.yahoo.com. What exactly will happen now? The traffic will be going from your computer to from the victim computer to the switch www.msn.com. So this request will be going from this computer, which is the victim computer, to the switch, to the router, to Yahoo or MSN website, and the reply will come back from MSN website to the switch, to the router, to the switch, and back to the machine. This is the path of the information. So if he log into a web page or use his credentials, the credential will be going from his machine to the switch, to the router, to the website, and the reply will come back from the website to the router. This is how it goes. Now I will manipulate that. I will ask the computer to, information will be going from the victim machine to the hacker machine, to the switch, to the router, and then to the website, and come back the same path from the victim, from the website to the router, to my machine, to the router, to the switch, to my machine, to the victim machine. Okay. So let's see how to do that. So we can go here and we can click on check the IP of the victim machine is 192.168.95.150. So here I will go to my hacker machine and I'm going to the APR here. This is to establish a man in the middle attack, and I'm going to click on plus. I need to do a man in the middle attack. You're going to say, okay, man in the middle, that's mean you need to intercept a specific traffic. Which traffic you need to specify? I'm going to tell him I need to specify the traffic between this machine, which is the victim machine. What will be the next machine? It will be the router, because I'm interested the traffic that going from this victim machine to the router, because the router is one going to the internet and coming back from. How can I know which one is the router? Okay, I have 3 machines here. If you check on the victim machine or even on your machine, because they should be the same, on the gateway, this is the router IP. So on this machine or on the victim machine, you should find the same IP, which is the router IP. So the gateway is the IP that take you out. That's why it's called the gateway. And usually this is the router IP. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to this machine and click on the second machine to be the router and click on OK. And I'm going to start this bottom, which is called the APR. Okay. And you're going to notice that there is some traffic. To test that, what we can do, let's go to the victim machine and let's try to ping on Yahoo website. So if you ping is sending some packets, ping from your machine to Yahoo website, 4 packets to Yahoo website. So if you ping, usually the ping, the regular path for the ping, it's going from www.yahoo.com. So usually regular path would going from your machine, from the victim machine, the packet, to the switch, to the router, to the Yahoo. And Yahoo reply back from Yahoo to the router to switch to your machine, right? This is the normal way. So if you go, you start getting reply. This is what you are assuming. But the real path, because someone is intercepting the traffic, is going from your machine to the hacker machine, to the switch, to the router, to Yahoo, and coming back from Yahoo to the router, to switch, to the hacker machine, to your machine. And to check that, to validate that, let's do -T, ping continuously. And let's check the victim machine, the hacker machine, which you're going to see the packet keep increasing. That means that the packet keep going through my machine to the internet and coming back from my machine to the internet. Okay. On next video, we're going to see how to manipulate that so you can capture username and password in a very easy way. So thank you, and see you in the next video to complete this attack.